Hi, I'm Ovik Roy with Roy Healthcare Research, and I'm here with Clint Severson, CEO of Abaxis. And Abaxis is a company that specializes in blood diagnostic products for veterinary and medical markets. So maybe, Clint, it would be great to start with just helping us understand how are the veterinary and medical markets different for blood diagnostics?
Yeah, so the medical market is a regulated market with lots of distortions because of reimbursement, different government funding. It's not a cause and effect market, whereas the veterinary market doesn't have as much regulation. There's no government reimbursement. So veterinarians tend to look at adding products and services that will help them grow their business, provide better service to their customers and their patients. And so it's more straightforward business than the medical.
Right now, about 3/4 of your revenues comes from the veterinary side, about 20% from the medical side, the human medical side. How are each of those segments growing?
Yeah. So our veterinary market, we're actually adding products and adding people. So just a couple of years ago, we had 20, 30-something people in the field. Today, we have 85 people in the field. And we're probably going to add probably another 15 to 20 people over the next 12 months. So we understand the vet market. We have a very strong position in the vet market. And we have distribution opportunities that are opening up to us now with some changes that are taking place in the vet market. And so we clearly understand how to navigate the veterinary market. Now, the medical market is somewhat different. So we don't have as much experience there. And we haven't scaled it up yet. So we have about 13 people in the field in the U.S. And we have a couple people in Europe that sell medical, and we have a part-time person that sells medical in Asia. So we're still learning the market, but it's growing in the U.S. It's growing double digits. Outside the U.S., it's a little bit slower than that. And we have a $30 million business. So as we get a better understanding on how to penetrate the medical market, then we'll start scaling it up.
How are the margins and the pricing different between the veterinary and medical markets?
Yeah, so on the veterinary market, the price of the instrument becomes an issue because the veterinarian pays out of his own pocket. But the price of the consumables aren't as much of an issue because there's no price controls or issues with reimbursement. So we kind of lower the price on the hardware, and we have a little bit higher price on the consumable.
The classic razor blade model.
Classic razor blade, yeah. Now the medical market is a little bit different. The price on the instrument is not as critical. Clearly, it's capital equipment. It's amortized over a period of time. But the price of the consumable is very sensitive because of reimbursement. And reimbursement is a wide variety of reimbursement. In some areas it's very high, in some areas very low. So they watch the cost of the consumable very close. And so there we price the instrument a little bit higher and the consumable a little bit lower.
In the veterinary market, are products cross-compatible, or if somebody has your equipment, then they're using your consumables?
They are.
Okay.
They are.
And so now tell us, there's been this recent change. Your big competitor, IDEXX, they were required by the FTC to lose one of their distributor agreements. Explain that whole situation between you and IDEXX.
Yeah, so the veterinary market, the distribution was very closed. There were exclusive deals with the large distributors with our competitor, IDEXX. And so we had to do most of our own distribution. So we had to do a lot of our sales and marketing direct, or work with the very small distributors that are very regional in nature. And so that becomes very expensive because you've got to do your own shipping to customers, pay their freight, then you got to collect the bill. So it's an expensive way to go. Also, introducing your products is much slower because the three big distributors or the stores where the veterinarians do their shopping don't carry your products. And so it's slower to get traction in the marketplace. And the fact that, this opportunity is now opening up for us so we potentially can get our products in one of the big stores is a big upside for Abaxis.
And how would you stack up, just from a product standpoint, leaving the logistics and the supply chain stuff aside, what are the strengths and weaknesses of your diagnostic products versus theirs and other competitors that are out there?
Yeah, so Abaxis is primarily a point-of-care blood chemistry company. So we have a state-of-the-art blood chemistry machine where you only have to add 100 microliters of whole blood, which is about 5 drops, to a plastic disc, pop it in the machine and push the button. 12 and a half minutes later, you get up to 14 chemistry results. And so the advantage of that is that the veterinarian can run this product himself. No trained operator required. What it's costing you to run the test is very clear because there's one price. It's one disc. You don't have to run controls and calibrators and those kinds of things. And also anybody in the office can run the vet scan. I mean, because it's so simple to use. Whereas the competitors' products out there are really benchtop analyzers where you really need a trained person to run them. The Abaxis machine is smart, so if you make a mistake, you add too much sample, you run a device that's expired, or you make some other kind of mistake, the machine catches it, and it won't report an erroneous result. The competitors' instruments are not smart machines. If you make a mistake, you can report an erroneous result. Also, the vet scan is very small. It's about the size of a toaster, and so it takes hardly any space, whereas most of the competitors are much larger. They're size of a benchtop computer. And so we like to say that you save money when you use Abaxis products because there's less overhead. Right?
So how does the market share in the veterinary market break down between you and IDEXX and the others?
Yeah, so we have a market share in the blood chemistry area of in the 20s. So you could argue is it 22% or 25%, but it's in the 20s. IDEXX has probably 60, 70% market share. So they're clearly the leader. And then there's one or two other companies that follow behind that. So, but clearly our vet business in the U.S. is growing double digits. The market clearly isn't growing double digits, so I believe we're taking share. And I think that with this new opportunity with distribution, we'll have many more chances to get to the opportunity, And so we're looking forward to that. We think we can grow our market share maybe double over the next few years.
Is it fully penetrated the blood diagnostics market in the veterinary side of things, or is there still room to grow there?
Yeah, I think there's room to grow. I think there's probably somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 veterinary sites in the U.S. that do not have any in-house capabilities. So what they do is they send everything out to a reference lab. And I think most of those clinics have probably seen a lot of the competitors' products and have determined, well, they're just too complicated to use in my practice. And I think a lot of them haven't yet to see the vet scan. So as this store opens up for us, we're looking forward to the opportunity to show all these 6,000 to 8,000 clinics out there that there's a solution that's very simple to implement.
In what ways does the vet make money using your product versus going to a veterinary lab, obviously, to an outside lab? So if it's an outside lab, he's obviously paying the outside lab. What would be the average annual cost that a vet would have for that versus having a product like yours?
Yeah, so the cost is probably not that much different than sending it out. But what's different is the reduced cycle time. So if you have to send out a sample, let's say you get the sample sent out by 10 o'clock in the morning, you'll get the results at 5 o'clock that evening. Okay, well, 5 o'clock that evening, your patient's probably gone. So that means you have to reschedule another appointment. And so that's a lot of downtime. Now, if you can do it at the point of care with a small drop of 5 drops of blood in 12 and a half minutes, you get all your results right there. You can deal with the patient and implement the treatment. And clearly you're more efficient in your practice.
Makes sense. And going back on the legal side, you have another litigation ongoing with Cepheid. Maybe you could talk about that a little bit, what's going on there.
Yeah, so Abaxis has a patented process where we can turn liquid reagents into solid beads. And the advantage of those solid beads is that it eliminates any chance of contamination. When you're dealing with liquids, pipetting them back and forth, that type of thing, there's chance for that contamination. Also, the solid bead is much more stable than the liquid. And without this bead technology, of course, the Abaxis technology wouldn't work. So it was all key to our development process. Well, Cepheid actually licensed that bead technology from us in 2005. And after paying royalties for about 3 years, they decided they didn't want to pay the royalties anymore. And so, so they didn't pay the royalty, so we sued them. And clearly, it's a lawsuit like this is distracting. And, we're looking forward to the court case, which is coming up, scheduled for September 24th. And, we're looking forward to the jury hearing our argument and ruling in our favor.
You never know, of course, when the judge is going to rule, but you would expect perhaps a first half of 2013 ruling? Is that the
We would,
right time frame?
Something like that, yeah.
Then back on the distribution situation with IDEXX. So what percentage, the particular distributor that they're going to have to relinquish, the channel that they're relinquishing, what percentage of the market does that distributor control?
Yeah, so the control is probably a hard word, huh? Control is probably a hard word. So it's kind of like the Walmart, Target, Home Depot of the vet world, huh? These are the three major stores with a veterinarian shop. And almost all the veterinarians shop in all three stores. So if you don't have any products, any of your products are in those stores, it's difficult for the veterinarian to do their shopping because you're not there. Now, if you can get into one store, that's probably enough, huh? We're actually happy to be in one store. Because if we get into one store, we're gonna get an opportunity to present the advantages of the Abaxis product to pretty much 100% of the market. So we're looking forward to that. Yeah, we think that's a big upside for the company.
So then, of course, the big growth opportunity for you is on the human side. How would you say the dynamics are there in terms of how you grow your share on the human side? Is it really just a matter of blocking and tackling and hiring the sales force and getting out there, or are there other competitive dynamics we're thinking about?
Right. Yeah, so the medical market's really complex, huh? So here's how we sell in the medical market. We go to three primary segments, urgent care, oncology, and internal medicine. And because the reimbursement is not known, it changes, it's very different depending on your patient, how often he goes to the doctor. It's very difficult to show a physician a return on investment. But an urgent care doctor, it's totally different because in urgent care, the patient comes in just off the street, no appointment necessary. And the first thing the physician needs to know is this patient too sick for me to be treating here? Or can I treat him here, or do I need to refer him out? So with a Piccolo, you can make that differential diagnosis very quickly. Also, if it's a patient that needs a re-up on their prescription, and part of the protocol is liver function testing or kidney function testing, he can add that service to his practice. So he's less concerned about the reimbursement for the test rather than providing a service that'll add more patients to his practice. And so that's the way we focus it. Then for internal medicine doctors, they do a lot of blood chemistry testing. If they can eliminate that bottleneck, that long cycle time, they can actually see more patients. And then for oncology, if you're doing chemotherapy, they monitor chemistries during that chemotherapy process. And if they have a Piccolo machine, then they can do it right there. They're much more efficient. So that's kind of how we sell it. Now, over the last few years, we have convinced about 3,000 offices to buy a Piccolo. And we tell them, if you buy a Piccolo, you're going to make more money, you're going to be more efficient, you're going to have happier customers, and you're going to do less work. And of course, the reaction is, man, Abaxis, I've never heard of you guys, huh? But you know, this sounds so good, I'm going to risk $13,500. See if you're telling the truth, huh? And they buy the Piccolo. And then, of course, what we do is we need to make sure that what we told them is true, huh? Because if they don't make more money, they're not more efficient, they don't have happier customers, and they don't do less work, guess what? They're not going to buy the consumable. They're not going to use the product. And so our consumable revenue now has grown from almost nothing in 2003 to last quarter we sold over 500,000. 500,000 of the, So we believe that what we're saying is true. We believe we're seeing, okay, so now the question is, how do you scale that up? Get that message across to a large group of people. And how do you do it cost effectively? And so that's what we're working on. We're working on how do we do this cost effectively. And I think once we have the Cepheid case behind us, and once we have this FTC stuff behind us, we'll have the extra resources to be able to scale that medical business up.
And how about your cash balance? How much cash do you have on hand right now?
Yeah, so we have around 90 million in cash when you do the short-term investments and the long-term investments, which are CDs more than a year. So we're a cash-generating machine. Last year we bought about 1.2 million shares of stock back, and so we have an active buyback program. And clearly having those cash resources will allow us the resources, to scale up the medical business once we figure out how to do that.
Terrific. Clint Severson from Abaxis, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you. Mm-hmm.